Welcome to Sinkowitz, hosted by the fearless Linda Sinkowitz. She's syncing you up with the latest in election integrity, from breaking headlines to critical updates you won't hear anywhere else. With Linda, it's facts first as she leads the fight for one vote for one legal voter. Stay informed, stay empowered. Let's jump in.
Hi, and welcome to Sinkowitz. My name is Linda Sinkowitz. I'm the founder and CEO of Fight Voter Fraud. We're a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. And this is our episode 12. So thank you so much for everybody who is watching our program. And our intent is to give you information about different election integrity issues and things that are going on across the country. So today, my guest is going to be Matt Meck. You're going to love to hear everything that the Lieutenant Colonel has to say, and I'm very happy that he is on board with us today. And the states that we're going to be highlighting, we're going to be highlighting stuff in Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Maine, just a quick little thing on Michigan, Oregon, Texas, then we'll go to our national stuff, and then we'll go to our vote notes and our trivia at the end. So right now, we're going to go right to Matt Meck. Hi,
Linda,
Matt.
good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. And I know you're up early because you're out there towards the West Coast.
Yeah, the left coast, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the left coast. All right. So you are the executive director of UnAuthorized. Full disclosure, you're also a board member for Fight Voter Fraud. And
Honored to be.
You're also with the Candidate Coalition.
It's the Coalition of Candidates.
Coalition of Candidates. All right, so why don't we start there where you explain what the Coalition of Candidates is?
It literally really started 1 May of 2021 at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. We had Jim Marchant was running for Secretary of State out of Nevada, Mark Fincham out of Arizona, Christina Caramo out of Michigan, Rachel Hamm out of California. Senator Mastriano was running for governor of Pennsylvania. In that state, the governor appoints the Secretary of State. And we had Jody Hines out of Georgia was running. So we were getting together a band of secretaries of states candidates that was kind of limited to that at that point. And these are folks who wanted 1 day paper ballots, in person, precinct level, count where cast. I mean, just common sense stuff to reclaim our election system for we the people. And it grew over time. We'd gotten Carrie Lake and it was up in state of Washington. We got candidates out of Louisiana, more than just secretaries of state. It included gubernatorial candidates, senatorial candidates, House candidates. And with the help of the America Project, Patrick Byrne, they had funded us through a PAC that Jim Marchant had that literally probably about 40 election integrity events we did throughout the country, starting in 1 December of 2021. Still going through. The last one we had, actually, UnAuthorized took over that role of organizing, but you came to that last one in Las Vegas in September of 2021. And again, it's not Republican, it's not Democrat, it's we the people. We're trying to educate folks so they understand their election ecosystem, from registration to validation to tabulation to reporting. And it's been a powerful, I think, force for good, just so folks can understand, how does my vote actually get cast? How does all this work? Because it seemed black box to us.
Right, but a lot of the general public doesn't know exactly how everything works. And I got to tell you, I was so grateful to be at that one in Las Vegas last September. And you actually started at like 8 in the morning and it ran to 6 at night, with people all over the country coming on, explaining things. And I thought it was fabulous. So thank you so much.
What we did, we kind of started with Boone Cutler on a 5GW perspective. What's going on, how are you being influenced, especially about voting. Then we went to the border, why that mattered, right, with illegal immigrants coming in. And as you're involved with and fight voter fraud, registrations and legal registrations. And
Mhm.
then we devoted that whole afternoon into the election process. You, Marley Hornick, Mark Cook, Greg Stenstrom, and then we finished it with Sheriff Mack and the aforementioned Rachel Ham, Christina Caramo, Jim Marchant, and Mark Fincham.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I have a wonderful picture from when we went to dinner with Sheriff Mack on one side and Pastor Andy on the other side. In my
Great.
office. I had a fabulous time. You guys put on a great presentation. So I'm sure people can go back and look at that particular video of the entire thing from September.
You can watch it on unauthorized.one. You can see that recording, or also on Mark Cook's website, handcountroadshow.org.
All right. So Mark Cook was also there, and many people may know about him. He's the one who has been showing how we're capable of doing the hand counts.
Yes.
So, and he's touring. He tours with his van or
He's got a
bus
fifth
across the
wheel,
country.
and he's in Utah now. He'll be in the northern part of Nevada, be down here on the 4th through the 6th of July. Then he's in California for a month. And we've got great friends in California, and California is not lost. You know, Joe Hoff will tell you that.
Yeah, and Joe Hoff, he was the commentator.
He was our moderator. He
Yes, our
was
moderator,
at
MC.
that one May event we talked about in 2021. He was there from a media perspective, and we had the one and only Patrick Byrne physically there, and Mike Lindell remoted in.
Wow. So you are connected with just about anybody and everybody that has anything to do with election integrity across the country.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. My skill set isn't like a Mark Cook's, where he can get down into the technical stuff, or fight voter fraud, or Greg Stenstrom that can look at data and figure. You put me in an Excel spreadsheet to get the highs. Put me in a PowerPoint, and I'm great, right? And that's God gave me I guess a gift that I can connect people, and I see that if I connect that person, or that group, man, if I connect them, the result, the sum is greater than just those individual parts.
Oh, absolutely. And we're not going to talk about who you've connected me with, but thank you on that.
Well, it's just natural. I mean, you fight voter frauds, trying to do good. These people are trying to do good. And I say good for everybody, regardless of the melanin in your skin, your party affiliation, your gender, don't care.
Right? No, it's fabulous. So unauthorized, how did that start?
You know, that started to listening to the candidates. We had grassroots Democrat candidates, grassroots Republican candidates, all suffered, I'll be kind, election irregularities, again, grassroots, and they got slammed by their party leadership for challenging the orthodoxy, whether they were Democrat or Republican. And what I was seeing and hearing from them is, one, if they were not in the good old boy or good old girl club of either party, they couldn't get like a campaign manager, a consultant, a finance manager for their campaign. And then if they did get one, they were told, you'll say what I say, how I say it, when I say it. Basically, you're a puppet, I'm the puppet master, I'm going to control you. And I said, and all of them were sick at their stomach, because I think, knowing you and those of us who have been fighting this battle, we don't like being controlled by anyone except God. Right? And if you're married, okay, you're your wife or your husband, okay, I can, yes, you've earned that right. But it was how can we free up candidates from the professional consultancy class so that they can just be genuine, and even if they're in office, not have to worry about, oh, now I got to go raise some more money. So we wanted to get an organization that if God and the Constitution were your North Star, that was your North Star, you know, one heavenly, one on earth, we'll help you. And that's what we did. And then also educating people about our election ecosystem, again, irrespective of party.
Right. And that's what we're both working for. You know, fight voter fraud. It's one vote for one legal voter. Again, we don't care what party you're from. We just want clean voter rolls and our votes to actually count. And of course, you must be U.S. citizens, because this is our country.
You must be. And I tell you, if there was an event we one of our forums we had, gosh, and I think people can look on that. It's I'll spell out the acronym, ACCFEI.org. So Alpha Charlie Charlie Foxtrot Echo India.org, and it's all of our previous ones we've had. They're all recorded there. And Bill Lind, who wrote a great novel called Victoria. It's a fiction novel, but based on things he was seeing. And he is a great critical thinker. He wrote the book called The New Conservatism that he gave to Trump and so forth before the 2016 election. One of those great thinkers in the conservative populist movement. He's in his 80s now. And he's briefed at our presentation, and we were up in the Cleveland area. And he said, think about it. He goes, this is not about R versus D. This is this battle is to destroy your confidence in the election system. Because if you don't vote, we don't have a republic. If we don't have a republic, the U.S. population gets atomized. And those who are opposing us, that's what they want. They want us to divide between black, white, male, female, gay, straight, Democrat, Republican. It goes, do not let them do that. Ensure the pristineness, the sanctity, if you will, of our voter election system.
And with him talking about us being a republic, now we are a constitutional republic. So every time I hear people say, "Oh, we're a democracy," we're not. We're a constitutional republic.
And our founders
really understand
that danger.
what we're about.
Yeah, they did. Our founders knew that danger. They didn't want a democracy. We democratically elect our representatives, but it's an extreme. But I said, if you have 10 folks for dinner, 9 are cannibals and 1's a vegan, well, guess what democracy results in? The vegan is gone, right? I mean, that's democracy. And our founders looked at that, and every time there was a democracy, pure democracy with unbridled passions that can take over at the moment, that they knew it becomes mob rule. And we don't have that here, and we don't want that here.
Right. So, like I said, anytime you hear somebody say we're a democracy, your ears should perk up going, they don't know what they're talking about.
And think about that. That was, in the 50s. Look back at the audience, look at the Macy conferences. Like Macy's like the store, the Macy conferences lasted about 10 years, from the mid 40s to the mid 50s. Didn't have the best intentions in mind about how to control the population. And think about, they use behavioral science and those kind of things to begin to influence people. And think about that. About that time, the word democracy keeps coming in. FDR called us the arsenal of democracy. It was purposely injected into our lexicon. And I said, go back to folks, hopefully in some schools we still say the pledge, but go back to when you were in school. Certainly I was. I pledge allegiance to the republic. Not to the democracy, to the republic, right. The United States of America.
Yeah. No, that's so. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you or look at your different websites, you want to give us that information?
Sure. I mean, they unauthorized.one.one. They can go there, contact us. There's a contact email. There's a number there. On social media, you'll see unauthorized on X. I've been posting a lot there lately, and would love to help anybody. If anybody wants to get a further understanding of the complete ecosystem of our election process, if you have candidates who want to get in office and they're not sure, we'll help them. We help strategize. Don't charge them a dime, because I want candidates who want to spend time with their constituents, not time with consultants.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Now, I should also let people know, again, you are a former lieutenant colonel. You want to just give us your military background?
Yeah, I had reached that rank before retiring from the Marine Corps, and flew EA-6B Prowlers, which is a jamming aircraft. One of our forums, Beth Beazle, had put one on at the Frontiers of Flight Museum in Dallas at Love Field. And as I'm walking into that door with some people, I see my jets in the museum, right? The actual jet that I was in on day one, wave one of Desert Storm. Wow. And I was like, wow, you're getting old when your plane is in a museum.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
but so I flew that was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Bosnia operations. Um, One of the last things I did before retiring was down at Gitmo after the Hamdi decision in June or July of '04, and we helped set up that process of how to properly go through a process to see were the people there. We had about 535 at the time. Were they properly classified as enemy combatants? And we set that up from scratch and began to ran people through. So I was texting General Flynn a week or two ago saying, "Sir, I'm sure the notes are there at DOJ and DOD. If we need to send illegal immigrants over to Gitmo, we showed up. I mean, I wasn't being mean. I mean, we need to get them into a place before then we adjudicate them so we don't send somebody somewhere they shouldn't be. Put them
Mhm.
there. They have the space, they have the capacity. I can tell you there's a maximum security prison at Gitmo. I know that for a fact. And we had that process was there. I'm sure DOD and DOJ have those paperworks. We can scale that up like we did before very, very quickly. Let's learn from that.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for your service. We truly appreciate it, and I will definitely be having you back on again, Matt. So thank you
Linda,
so
thank
much
you.
for being on.
Have a great morning. God bless you all.
God bless. He's fabulous. I mean, Matt is he's unbelievable, and as far as helping people out, and whenever I call him or text him, he is always responding, like, immediately. So I wanted to thank him for coming on. Fabulous. All right, so now we're going to go on to our states. I'm going to try to make them brief as possible when I can. So the first one we're going to go to is Arizona. Now, the topic for Arizona, this comes from the AZ Mirror on June 10th. Former GOP state representative Austin Smith, he was a Turning Point leader, was indicted for forging election documents. Former Republican state legislator Austin Smith was indicted on 14 misdemeanor and felony counts for allegedly forging voter signatures on his petition for reelection last year. All I got to say is, really? Really? Unbelievable. So he was accused of personally forging over 100 petition signatures to get on the 2024 primary ballot. He did resign from his position with TPU, and he had been the senior director of Turning Point Action. And the Maricopa grand jury indicted Smith on 2 of 4 felony accounts for presenting documents the Secretary of State he knew were forged. No kidding, he did it, according to this, allegedly, and 10 misdemeanor accounts for personally forging names of electors for his reelection petitions. Now, felonies come with a 1 to 2 year prison sentence, and misdemeanors come with a 6-month sentences. Now, some of the handwriting and some of the people on the list said that they never signed the petition, and they actually had in that article a picture of the signatures, and oh yeah, whoever did this did not even try to hide that they were the same person signing on there. But either party, it doesn't matter. You can't do that. And it is just so unfortunate that someone who had some prestige and worked in Arizona as a legislator is now gone and now facing all these counts as well as prison time. We go, ugh. It's just upsetting when you see stuff like that. But one of the things you're going to find with our program, Sinkowitz, is it doesn't matter whether it's a Republican, Democrat, independent, or unaffiliated. If we see that there's something that's out there that's wrong, we're going to bring it up and let you know about it. So our next state is Florida, and this comes from the headline surfer for this month for June 2025. Now, Florida's controversial election recounts that have been going on, Broward County, Palm Beach, and then you have Volusia County added in there. So I guess they've had all kinds of stuff in the news down there because they had their elections just recently. So Santiago Avila Jr., he accepted the fact that he lost his bid to be the mayor of Deltona, Florida. But the fact that a poll worker was telling people to only vote blue is where this issue has a problem. This particular poll worker was also telling everybody only vote blue, and it was overheard by several other voters where she specifically said not to vote for Mr. Avila because he was Republican. So I guess this particular worker was sitting at a table, and that was inside precinct 416. The two voters that witnessed this are willing to sign affidavits. And Lisa Lewis, the county supervisor of elections, said that poll worker will never work for them again. And they were still, at this time last week, we're still doing the recounts. Okay. Now on to Georgia. Georgia. Now, Georgia's Supreme Court strikes down 4 of the 7 rules that the Georgia election integrity or election officials had put forward. So the 7 rules that were adopted by the election board are what is now in court. Number 1 was the election county boards conduct a reasonable inquiry before certifying results of an election. I don't see anything wrong with that one. Number 2, the election board members are permitted to examine all election-related documentation before certifying results. Now, mind you, they have to put their signature saying what they are looking at is accurate. So I believe that this is definitely something that should be done. Number 3, that precinct workers count ballots by hand after the close of polls. Anybody out there have a problem with that? Oh, yeah, I know there are. But anybody who wants a fair election, this is the way to go, is to have hand counted ballots. Number 4, that the total number of votes as well as specific number of early and absentee votes be reported daily and made available on a website or in a public place accessible 24 hours a day to the public. Again, makes sense. Number 5, that poll watchers be allowed to access to be expanded in the listed areas where the tabulation of votes are actually taking place. So having a little larger area than some very small area that they may be prevented from seeing what's going on. Number 6, that family members or caregivers provide identification when dropping off an absentee ballot of another voter at certain ballot drop-off locations. That's got common sense written all over it for a secure election. And number 7, that the absentee drop boxes at early voting locations be under video surveillance outside of voting hours. The court found that only the last one, number 7, was valid. That's for those drop-off boxes that I personally believe we should not be using. Use the U.S. Post Office. Put it in a regular mailbox. It's federally protected. So the Supreme Court said that 1, 2, 3, and 6 were outside of the scope of the election board. All right, so that's how they shot it down. So it also has to have something go through the legislatures, etc. Okay, and number 4 and 5 were sent back to the trial court to determine if one of the plaintiffs has legal standing to challenge them. So Georgia has their hands full. And again, all 7 of those things that were listed are really just common sense. Common sense, everybody should have that. But again, the last one that they said, okay, is something that we shouldn't even be having out there. But if they're going to be out there, the drop boxes need to have cameras on them. Absolutely. Okay, next we're going on to Maine, our beautiful state of Maine. Now, this is from The Main Wire on June 8th of 2025. Maine legislature rejects ID bill on partisan lines following lengthy and impassionate debate. It's not really a surprise that it would be on party lines, wanting to prove again that you are the person voting. I truly believe anybody that thinks that we shouldn't have to prove the voting is complicit in making sure the elections are not fair because of all the nefarious things that could go on. But in Maine, they had the normal rhetoric of why we shouldn't have voter ID. Now, first, it was the Republicans that wanted photo ID at the polls, and it is, let's see, it's LD 38 is the name of the bill. And all the Democrats were against it, saying that it would be a burden to show ID. It would be too much for some Maine residents. Oh my God, you can't show ID. Do you get your prescription drugs? Don't you have to show your ID? Going on an airplane, you have to show your ID. Anything to do with federal government, you need to go in and show your ID. I had to show mine multiple times when I was just down in DC in the buildings I was going into. We need to prove it is the person, that you are that person. Yet, once again, we have the ones saying, oh no, it's too much. It's too much to show ID. Yeah. Again, your votes matter. And we need to make sure it is only you voting. So again, this is something that we've heard over and over again. And anybody who wants the full transcript, you can go to Main Wire on June 8th edition, and they have a whole bunch of very specific quotes, both from the Republicans and the Democrats. But again, it's the same whiny complaint, and I am saying whiny. I'm surprised that the League of Women Voters wasn't in there because they're the ones that usually go, oh my God, you can't show ID. It's so difficult. When will people wake up? Wake up. Come on. Just don't vote those people back into office. Oh, but wait a minute. We need to clean the voter rolls first to make sure our votes are counting, but I digress. All right, so here's a state that has been on our plate, I believe for the last 2, 3 episodes at least. And once again, it is Michigan. And this was put out by the Michigan Republicans in June, last week. Now, State Representative Jason Woolard is calling out the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson. Now, we know what's going on with their campaign finance stuff and all their other issues that they're having out there. But this one is against campaign finance law by the Secretary of State. She announced her gubernatorial run in the state building in the lobby of where she is the Secretary of State. That is illegal. You cannot do that because she's utilizing something that is not available to the general public, and it's against campaign finance law to do it. So you would think their their attorney general would look into this. They did. The attorney general, Dana Nessel, says, oh yeah, it's a violation. But the only person who could report the violation of any campaign finance laws is the Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson. Is that ridiculous? So in order for her to be prosecuted in the state of Michigan, she has to rat herself out, even though the Attorney General says it was illegal. How crazy is that? That's really crazy. It's Michigan. I mean, They've got all kinds of issues there. I mean, we really gotta straighten that stuff out. I mean, I don't think there's ever gonna be a time there isn't a lawsuit going on right now in Michigan over voter stuff, over campaign finance. I mean, the Republicans are screaming it from the rooftops, and you can see the hypocrisy of this, and they're gonna do nothing. Again, that's Michigan. All right, so now we are moving on to Oregon, or Oregon. I I've been told different ways I'm supposed to say it. Either way, I'm probably saying it incorrectly for any of you of the Oregonians that are living in the state of Oregon. I think that's what they're called, Oregonians. All right, so the Trump administration is challenging Oregon over the voter roll lawsuit. Now, this was a lawsuit that was pushed forward by Judicial Watch. Absolutely fantastic organization who has been fighting for years against multiple states that aren't following the NVRA, the National Voter Registration Act, or following HAVA. Now, the people that are involved in this lawsuit, as I said, it's a statement. Oh, excuse me. The conservative Republican plaintiffs. I do have to, as I'm looking at this, there's a number of conservative plaintiffs and the Oregon Secretary of State. Okay, so they are the ones that are also involved in this. All they want are accurate voter rolls. That's a novel idea. So the U.S. Assistant Attorney General, Harmeet Dillon, said in her statement, states have specific obligations under the list maintenance provisions of the NVRA, again, National Voter Registration Act of 1993, and the Department of Justice will vigorously enforce those requirements. Again, it was Judicial Watch in October that had brought forward this lawsuit along with the Constitution Party of Oregon, and there were two separate Oregonians. Well, you know what I mean. And that was Sonny Donforth and Hannah Shipman. So kudos to them for bringing this forward. And so here's two of the specific things that they're pointing out. One, the claim is based in part on the 2023 report from the U.S. Election Assistance Commission. Basically, it says that 19 of 36 counties had not removed any voters between November 2020 and November 2022. And 10 counties removed fewer than 11 people. Nobody being removed in 2 years on the voter rolls? In all, there were 29 that reported a combined total of 2,404,849 voter registrations as of November 22. Yet they only removed 36. In 2 years, it was only a total of 36 names removed on the Oregon voter rolls. I think there's more than 36 people that may have passed away in Oregon. I mean, this is where the huge problem is. It's people who have passed away that are still in the voter rolls, people that have moved, and also going through to make sure that anybody who is an illegal immigrant should not be on the U.S. voter rolls anywhere. So kudos to the Department of Justice going after them. And again, Judicial Watch, as well as the the Constitution Party of Oregon, and the two other plaintiffs. Thank you for what you're doing. I am so glad that this administration is starting to see what needs to be done and will start forcing the states to follow federal law. All right, so the next step I'm just going to quickly go over is our great state of Texas. Texas. Texas Secretary of State has already found, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but they've already 100% know that 33 illegals voted in the 2024 election, and they're investigating a multitude of others. But these have been passed on to their Attorney General Paxton, for conviction. So I am so glad that Texas has also been utilizing the system from the federal government that allows them to verify social security numbers, etc., to make sure that non-US citizens and illegal immigrants are not on the voter rolls in Texas. So kudos to them. Another thing from Texas, and this is from Pasadena, their city council seat. Now, I know this is rare that it happens, but they just recently had a vote for their council seat, and the vote was 272 to 272. The exact same number. We know it happens. It's rare. And one of the things we talk about is that every single vote counts. Everybody's vote counts. And here is a good reason. And they were busy going through, and obviously they were rechecking the ballots, etc. And if it comes out that it was exactly the same, take a guess how they handle it. One of the ways is drawing straws. Could also be by a coin toss. I don't know about you, but having a coin toss just reminds me of being on the playground, with who's going to go first for whatever game you're playing or something. But yeah, so every vote matters. Every single vote. And here is an instance where it came down to the wire, and obviously they would have done the recount anyway because of the small percentage of what it would be, but that was an exact. So now we're going to go on to national news. Again, thank you to the Department of Justice. I am so happy that they are actually moving forward. This is the Civil Rights Division. They're the ones that handle election issues. So the U.S. has already sent a letter and warned Arizona and Wisconsin over compliance with federal law. Again, remember a number of states, if not all the states, have been getting away with violating federal law for a very long time. So the U.S. Justice Department had sent letters to the two key swing states, that being Arizona and Wisconsin, and they also was for violations under HAVA, the Help America Vote Act. And I'm just so glad we are actually seeing action. DOJ, please come after my state of Connecticut. You're going to see so much that's not being followed. And it's also in multiple states as well. I mean, some of them that are absolutely egregious. So now we're going to go to our vote notes. Our vote notes is our weekly segment that you're going to get a hyperlink. You can actually go to our website and read the rest of the information. And a lot of you have heard me talking about the NVRA. That's the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. It's been around for a while. So the link that we're giving you is a number of questions that are also being answered by the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. So you'll see our link on the screen. You'll also be able to find it under vote notes on our website, which is fightvoterfraud.org. Familiarize yourself with it. Print it out. It's not too many pages long. Give it to your friends, talk to your state reps, talk to your senators, talk to people to let them know when you're going through this, you can easily check to see if they are actually following federal law. And you're going to find your state isn't. And so, anyway. Now we're going to go to our trivia question. So our trivia question of the week is, how often are presidential elections held? The answer being every 4 years. And it's on the even years. You'll notice that 2020, 2024, 2018, excuse me, not 2018, 2016, 2020, 2024, on the even years, federal elections, which is why federal law applies above any state election. They have to follow federal law. I hope this has been educational for you. And if anybody wants to get in touch with us or myself, it's info@fightvoterfraud.org. You can go to our website, www.fightvoterfraud.org. That's .org. Now, our program would not be possible without the help of the following people. Olivia Giamanco is our producer. Tim Harriman is our technical director. He's Matt Karen, he is our consultant. He's our media consultant with Karen Communications, of which he is the president. Executive direction and distribution is by OBBM Network TV. It's free. Go there, sign up, share, like, pass this on to family and friends. We want to hear comments about our program. I'm the executive producer. My name is Linda Sinkowitz, and I want to thank all of you for helping us to educate you on what is going on across the country to do with our elections. Thank you, and we'll see you again next week.